Greetings, everyone. Hey, it's a timey-wimey Tuesday double whammy. We finally got the long-awaited return of the story-by-story reviews, and I've got an update video for you. Yeah! Now, truth be told, it's not much of an update video. There's only a handful of items, but some pretty cool ones. Some stuff, one that I didn't even know was coming and just kind of appeared out of the blue and took us all by surprise, and we're all blown away, and we're all hoping that they do more of them. And two others that I've had my eye on for a very long time and thought it was about time I pulled the trigger on them, especially since they both just dropped dramatically in price recently, so it seemed like it was about time I finally got them. So let's take a look. British Sci-Fi update today on the Multimedia Chronicles. Welcome back. Alright, well, let's start with what you're all here for. Some Doctor Who. Oh, you know what this is going to be. You know, a few of you have already asked me if I picked this up, and I had to begrudgingly say yes, even though I was wanting to keep it as a surprise. I, of course, picked up Doctor Who, story number 30, the debut of the second Doctor, The Power of the Daleks. Yes. So this, sadly, is one of the stories that is 100% missing. Only a handful of very short clips survive. We do, of course, have the complete original soundtrack, so all the audio survives thanks to the efforts of diligent fans back in the 60s, recording it for their own personal enjoyment, and then, well, handing those recordings over to the BBC so the BBC could remaster them and clean them up for us. So this really threw me for a loop, because up until this point, whenever they would do, say, missing or incomplete stories, they would only release ones that had at least a few episodes in existence. So, for example, we look at some Patrick Troughton ones. We got stuff like The Invasion, which I think was the first time they did this, where they had 6 of the 8 episodes. So they animated the ones that were missing. So they did like an animated version using the original soundtracks and stills as a guide to recreate the episodes in animated form. And then we've had a few more over the years as well. Like we had The Ice Warriors, which had 2 episodes animated. We had The Moon Base, which had 2 episodes animated. We had The Reign of Terror, which had 2 episodes animated. And these are all great. I mean, it was terrific to see these episodes brought back to life like that and to give us some kind of visual form to enjoy beyond just the telesnap and photo reconstructions that we've had to settle for so many years. So for the long time, it was just kind of assumed, like, oh, okay, I guess that's the only ones they're going to do, is the ones that at least have a few episodes, and then they'll just animate the missing ones. And then this was announced. All 6 episodes, fully animated. All 6! There's not a single episode still existing of this. But, I mean, this is obviously a huge, significant story. I mean, first I would consider one of the greatest Dalek stories ever. And it really is fantastic. It really brings in a lot of questions about, you know, the nature of humanity and whatnot, and human nature, and so forth. And it's the debut of the second Doctor. I mean, the very first of the new Doctors. It was a huge experiment. It was a huge gamble on the part of the BBC. Is the public going to buy this? Are they going to accept it? And, well, obviously they did, because here we are 54 years later, and the show is still going strong. So, great stuff. So, obviously a significant story. So, I don't know if this is just kind of a one-off thing that they're going to do, because it was, you know, it's obviously a special, significant story that deserves a little bit more of the royal treatment. I don't know. So, basically, at the time, I was telling everybody on Facebook, please, everyone, rush out and buy this. Send a clear message to the BBC that we want more of these, because how great would it be to have more of those missing episodes brought back to life like that? I mean, there's so many stories that are either completely missing or incomplete, or they just have a handful of episodes, or half the episodes, or 1 episode, or whatever. So it'd be great to get more of these. So I'm hoping that this did really well, and that maybe we'll get some other stories get the animated treatment, because it would be terrific to be able to fill in those gaps in the story like the overall Doctor Who story, at long last in some form, other than what we've had up till now. So this is kind of cool. I should mention, in Britain they also released a Blu-ray edition of this, because of course being animated they could just animate it in high definition. We did not get the Blu-ray over here, and I think it's region locked, so you need a region free player if you want to play it over here in region 1 and 1/A land. But kind of cool. This is actually a is it a 2-disc? Yeah, it's a 2-disc set. Let's get a little look there. I don't know how well you can see. I'm not going to do like a closer look right now. And when we get around to this in the story-by-story reviews, we'll do more. So here you see the TARDIS console, and here you see the TARDIS console in color. Why is that? Because we actually get 2 versions of the story here. Again, being animated, they could do whatever the hell they wanted. So they basically gave us a black and white version, which is more faithful to what the original presentation would have been. And they also gave us a full color version. It's funny because most fans that I've talked to say they hate the color version and tend to stick with the black and white version. When I first got this, I actually watched it with Rosie, my 9-year-old, and she loved it. She absolutely loved it. She really liked the second Doctor. She's seen some of his adventures before. I think her first ever Doctor Who story was The Mind Robber, which she really liked. I figured that was a good one to introduce a child to sort of the world of Doctor Who, because The Mind Robber takes place, has callbacks to all these wonderful children's stories where they're being brought to life and so forth. And there's a lot of funny stuff in there. She liked when Jamie's face got messed up and he looked like somebody else for a couple episodes. And yeah, good fun times. It's also a story I've always really enjoyed too. I just think it's a really fun one. But anyway, so it had been quite a while since she'd seen that. So she really dug this a lot. I mean, she likes the Daleks. She really liked the second Doctor. And yeah, I mean, it'd be great to be able to to have more for us, but also to show our children, because I think the second Doctor is a wonderfully accessible incarnation of the Doctor, especially for the younger ones. So, I mean, it introduces them to the wonderful world of black and white, and it also introduces them to a wonderful characterization of the Doctor that so many Doctors since have, at least in part, patterned their performance after. You see a lot of Patrick Troughton's sort of clownishness and playfulness in a lot of subsequent incarnations of the Doctor. So it's great to be able to go back to where that started, to the source, and experience it again. So, yeah, so I really hope we get more of these. I really enjoyed it a lot. I have not actually watched the color version, by the way. We just watched the black and white version because I was like, we're going to watch the black and white version because it's, just kind of the way it would have been originally seen. And honestly, Rose didn't care one way or the other. I mean, occasionally she'll say, I wish this was in color. But then that's it. And then she doesn't care. She just gets pulled into the story of whatever it is we're watching. We watched some of the old Universal Monster movies and stuff like that. We're going to watch a lot more this Halloween. And, yeah. Anyway, I figured I'd talk about this one a little bit more because this is the one that you guys come to Timey Wimey Tuesdays for. Next up, we got some other British sci-fi. Funny enough, kind of peripherally related to the Daleks, we have Survivors, the complete series. This is the complete original 70s series. Ran from, what was it, 1975 to 77. So all 3 seasons, all 38 episodes. Thankfully, this was produced shortly after the BBC had done its archive purge, so all the episodes exist. Hooray! So this was basically a post-apocalyptic series created by Terry Nation, the creator of the Daleks. And essentially what's happened is some kind of biological weapon or something. It's never fully explained what the actual cause of it was. We just kind of get a brief glimpse at what happened in the opening titles of every episode. Just kind of gives you the gist of it. So some kind of experiment with some biological virus got out of control and wiped out like 90% of the world's population. So the handful that survive are ones that were naturally immune to the virus. They just had this natural immunity, so they weren't killed by it. But the vast majority of people in the world were killed by it. So basically it's a post-apocalyptic scenario where the ones that have survived are trying to figure out how they're going to survive, essentially. Do they rebuild the world as it was? Do they try to make it better? Do they, so it's really interesting because it plays around with all these different dynamics, like all the questions you could possibly have about being in a world like that and all the different scenarios that could arise. You know, people trying to seize power, people just trying to make a living for themselves and their family. All these different scenarios essentially are played out in this series, and you see how a lot of them turn out. And plus, it's just a great ensemble cast of characters, like just fantastic. When I got this, I ordered this through Amazon a few months ago. Actually, this is how late this update is. As soon as I got it, I started watching it, and it was my like evening viewing for several weeks, where I would just come home and watch like 3 or 4 episodes of Survivors. It was just so gripping and so well done. Now I do have to kind of go with the crowd on this one and say that season 1 is definitely the best of the 3. It has the most, I think, interesting cast of characters. And some of the best dynamics between those characters. Also, some of the best sort of moral dilemma moments. Really powerful drama. And the thing is, I was surprised by how not dated it looks. I guess because it's a post-apocalyptic world. So, you know, other than some of the hairstyles, really, I mean, this doesn't really look that dated at all. It actually holds up phenomenally well, and is just wonderful. Wonderfully, well written, beautifully acted, gripping drama. It's really, really well done. Season 2, so season 1, they were mostly kind of on the run, trying to find a place to settle down, seeing how many other people survive, stuff like that. Season 2, they'd kind of settled into a kind of a commune, like a farmhouse community. They'd met up with some other survivors. Some characters from season 1 returned. And they were just kind of settled. So most of it took place at the commune. Season 3, they were on the road again. They were actually looking for one of the characters from the previous 2 seasons who had gone off in search of other survivors and other, he'd heard rumors that there was power being restored in some areas. So he was trying to get things arranged, trying to form a new government and stuff like that. So that particular character was away for the vast majority of the season. He comes back for a couple episodes, but most of the season is other characters trying to find him and then hearing about his exploits as they're trying to track him down. So season 3, kind of got back to what made season 1 so good, but still didn't quite reach that plateau of excellence that season 1 had. Terry Nation himself was only involved with the first season, and then went on to do other things, so it was left in other hands for the remaining 2 seasons. A lot of fans just kind of write off the last 2 seasons, like, just don't even bother, just watch season 1. It's like, I disagree. I actually think there are some good moments to be enjoyed in both seasons 2 and 3. But it's just, if you're going to compare them in terms of just the sheer quality of the writing and the quality of the drama, season 1 beats the other 2 hands down. I mean, it really does. It's just a phenomenal piece of television. And but yeah, I mean, I definitely recommend this. If you're a fan of 70s sci-fi like I am, definitely check out Survivors. And if you like that, they did a remake. Yes, so I got the remake as well. The remake didn't run as long. It only ran for 2 seasons, and they were shorter seasons. I think there's like 12 episodes total. So 2, like, 6-episode seasons. I've only watched, like, the first 4, I think, of this so far. But I have to say, honestly, after having just watched the original, this is actually quite a respectful update of the original. Let me just get the glare off. There we go. It's actually quite a respectful update, and, obviously modernized. There are callbacks to characters from the original series and events from the original series. So it's been really interesting, I have to say, watching this right after watching this, because I can see immediately, like, when they're referring to something from the original series, like, oh, this is kind of the updated version of that thing that happened, and that's like, oh, this is the sort of new version of that character, or that sort of thing, and it's pretty cool. To see. Actually, I was, the BBC tends to do pretty good updates of their own stuff, generally speaking. I guess with any kind of update, it's, you're treading a fine line, or we're going to piss off the fans, or we're going to bring in new fans, or is everybody going to be happy? Survivors, I think, is one where pretty much everybody can be happy from what I've seen so far. It's actually quite well done. So I would definitely recommend watch the original series first, though. It's not that you have to. Like, it isn't a continuation or anything. It's a full-blown remake, so it's a complete reboot from ground zero. But I would suggest watching the original series first, just because there's so many little nods to the original series in the remake that I think you'll get an extra layer or two of enjoyment out of it if you're already familiar with the original. So that's sort of my capsule review of all of them. I figured since I only have 3 items, I might as well talk about them a little longer, right? So yeah, Survivors, fantastic 70s sci-fi. Survivors, great update of a fantastic 70s sci-fi. Power of the Daleks, fully animated, brought back to life. More please. More please. So there you go. Hope you enjoyed this update. We'll see you next Timey-Wimey Tuesday, where, well, we're doing the story-by-story reviews bi-weekly again, just so I don't get overwhelmed and take a year to get back to them again. So next week will be Volume 2 of Prisoners of Time. So come back for that, and we'll talk about some Doctor Who comics. And then the week after that, we'll talk about story number 4, Marco Polo. And somewhere in the middle there, maybe I'll have some more updates, maybe not. I don't know. We'll see. The updates just kind of, I put them up whenever I put them up. Yeah, so we'll see you then. So quick thanks to you for watching. Quick thanks to my Patreon sponsors. Thank you very much, guys and gals. Appreciate you helping to keep the show going and keeping the fun alive. And we'll see you next time. So until then, sayonara.